video is to show you how to create this cute little jelly bean starfish. So this little starfish is made with no sewing. So to construct it, we're gonna make all 5 of the points and then we're gonna crochet them together at the front half and then the back half. For yarn, I've been using a combination of different Hobbii yarns. So this is the Hobbii Honey Bunny yarns. And today I'm going to use the Toucan Sprinkle. And there's also a baby Snuggle yarn, and all 3 work well interchangeably. And they're very similar to the Premier Parfait Chunky yarn as well. So go ahead and choose whatever yarn you'd like. These are great for last minute gifts and stash busting and craft markets. So today I'm going to be using the Toucan Sprinkle, as I was saying, and I'm using the colors Pink Currant and Gooseberry. And in addition to my yarns, I also have my H hook, which is 5.0 millimeters. I have my 10 millimeter safety eyes. You don't have to use safety eyes. You can always embroider on the eyes if you'd like, and I'll provide a video link below for you. And then I have my stitch markers, sewing needle, scissors, and of course a little bit of stuffing. So if you'd like to follow along with the written pattern, I'll have it available for free on my blog, darlingmapledesigns.com, but it'll also have a paid version that's available on my Ravelry and Etsy shops. And again, those links will all be provided below for you. So let's get started. So we're going to begin here with one of the arms, and you'll need to make 5 arms total. And you'll want to start with a magic ring. And if you're not a fan of doing magic rings, that's okay. Go ahead and chain 2 and place all the stitches from round 1 into the second chain from the hook. You want to place 4 single crochet stitches into the ring for round 1. I like to place them nice and loose in hopes that my magic ring will close a little bit easier. And then my other rounds will be a little bit tighter. So there are my 4 stitches. I'm going to close up my ring here. Okay, and add my stitch marker. Then we'll move on to round 2. Now round 2 is an increase round. So we're going to go from having 4 stitches up to 6 stitches. And to do that, we're going to place 1 single crochet in the next stitch and 2 single crochets in the stitch after that, which is the same as an increase. And we'll repeat that 2 times. So again, single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the stitch after that. And then repeat that a second time. Make sure you flip that the right way out. And then the next round, round 3, we're going to continue with 6 stitches, but we're going to do a small bobble stitch with our accent color. But first, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And on the last pull through of the 3rd stitch, you're going to add in your accent color for your bobble. Okay, and then we just want a small bobble stitch here. So to do that, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. So we basically did the beginning of a double crochet stitch, and we need to do that 2 more times, and then we'll pull the yarn through the top to make our bobble. So again, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, and 1 more time, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. So you should have 4 loops on your hook now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our main color. So tighten down the ends here, not too tight that you break the yarn, but tighten them down a bit. And then grab your main color and to pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Now we're doing that just to change our color back over. Okay, and tighten it down a little bit. And then you want to single crochet in the last 2 stitches of the round. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is we're just going to tie off both ends of our bobble stitch before we go any further, just because it's tricky to get into the arm once we keep working through it. So tie that up. Don't tie it too tight because you do need to work into this stitch in the next round. So you don't want it to disappear completely. Okay, on to round 4. Round 4 is an increase round. You're going to go from having 6 stitches up to 8 stitches. So to do that, we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches and then place 2 single crochets in the stitch after that. And we will repeat that twice. So again, single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and then place 2 single crochets in the stitch after that, which is the same as an increase. And repeat a second time. So make sure you're working into that bobble stitch there. Before we move on to round 5, you may want to pull in your tails, just tuck them inside here. I find these guys don't actually need too much stuffing because all the ends help to fill out the arms. And then on to round 5. So round 5, you will continue with 8 stitches, but we will do another small bobble here. So you want to start by single crocheting in the next 5 stitches. And for the last pull through of that 5th stitch, you want to pull in your accent color, and then we're going to create another small bobble. So yarn over, insert your hook to the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, repeat that 2 more times using the same stitch. I do have videos showing how to make a bobble stitch in more detail. If you're interested, I'll link all the beginner videos below for you. Okay, so once you have the 4 loops on the hook, then grab your main color, tighten everything down, and pull through with that main color. Then tighten things down a little bit. Again, make sure you don't pull it too tight that you lose that stitch altogether because you'll still need that when we crochet the arms together. And then you want to single crochet in the last 2 stitches of the round. And then you want to end off the arm by slip stitching to the next stitch. And just, you want to leave about a 6-inch, 4 to 6 inch tail. You don't need a lot, but there may be some gaps when you crochet the arms together that you'll want to sew up. That, We'll cut our accent color and tie it off and tuck in those ends. Okay, so go ahead and make 4 more of the arms. You'll need 5 in total. And then when we come back, we'll do round 6, which is the front of the body, together. So here I am with my 5 legs done. The last leg, I did not end off. I left my yarn attached. Now, if you've already ended off all the legs, that's okay. Then you'll want to attach your yarn to the stitch before the bobble stitch on any of the arms. It doesn't matter which one. So the stitch before the bobble stitch, that's the first stitch we're going to work into. So that's where you want to attach your yarn if you didn't leave it attached after the last arm. Okay, so for this round, basically all we're doing is we're going to crochet the front, so the top 4 stitches of each of these arms together. So we'll start by crocheting them in a line, and then we'll attach them in a circle, and then we'll work inwards towards the center. So to begin, you want to find the stitch before your bobble stitch. So your bobble stitch is a different color than your main color. So you want to start with the stitch before that. And we're attaching by single crocheting. So just stick your hook in and do a single crochet the same way that you normally would. And then you also want to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we're just going to work our way along. We're going to do this to each of the legs. Okay. One of the tails is trying to pop out there. And leave these little ends out, because sometimes when you crochet together the front and the back, it leaves a little bit of a hole sort of in the crease, and so you can use these to sew that up. And if you don't need that, then you can just push them in after. So grab your next arm and find the stitch before the bobble stitch, and single crochet, and then single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And we're repeating this all the way with all of the arms. Grab your next arm and the stitch before the bobble stitch. Now, if you're left-handed, you're going to be working the other way. So you'll want to start over here, still in the stitch before the bobble stitch, but you'll want to start on the other side of your bobble. Single crochet in the next 3. And we have 1 more arm to attach. So the stitch before the bobble stitch, and single crochet, and then single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Okay, so that gives us this. We have not crocheted this first one yet. Now, if you attached your yarn here, then go ahead and attach this arm the same way that we've been attaching these ones. And if you have them all connected already here, then take them in a circle and bring this one around. And we still need to work this arm. So we're going to start in the stitch before the bobble stitch and single crochet, and then single crochet in the next 3. So that brings us to 20 stitches all together, and brings us back to the beginning of our round. Okay, so there we go. Move the stitches out of the way so you can see what's going on. So now we're going to continue working rounds in here and fill it in. And then after, we'll worry about the back. So for round 7, we're going to single crochet decrease 10 times. So all the way around, I'm going to put my stitch marker back in just to give us a reference point here. And I do recommend doing an invisible decrease, to reduce the amount of holes. If you're unsure how to do that, there are detailed videos showing that, and I'll link them below. But basically you're going up the front loop of each of the next 2 stitches and then pulling through, yarn over, through 2. So you're doing a single crochet, but you're doing it through the front loops of the next 2 stitches. Okay, so we're doing 10 single crochet decreases here to pull everything in together. Okay, and then for round 8, again, we're going to do single crochet decreases all the way around. We're going to do 5 of them. So we'll go from having 10 stitches down to 5. And the last one. Okay, and then you want to end off by slip stitching to the next stitch. And then you want to leave about 6 to 8 inches because we're going to cinch up the end here. Cinch up the last 5 stitches. Okay. We're going to do that now because we want to add in our eyes before we start the back. So I usually just go up through the front loop. Whoops. And if your yarn is shedding, you could always attach a new piece on there and just weave this in. We're going to try and push through and make this work. There we go. Push it through. Okay, and instead of trying to like go through and knot it at the back, I'm just gonna attach it. Oh no, that's not gonna work. We'll just make a little knot back here. Okay, that should hold well enough. All right. Some fuzzies everywhere. So we have all our ends sitting out here. And we want to start, like I said, we're going to add in our eyes before we go any further. So we want the eyes to be placed on round 7. Now remember with this one, we're going from the outside to the inside. So round 7 is the second last round that we made. So it's not the very center, it's the one out from that. And you want them to be about 3 stitches apart. So kind of play with it. If you're embroidering your eyes, I recommend marking with stitch markers where you want them to go. So I think the eyes like that look cute. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to secure these. And then we will start on the back here. All this is making me want to make a giant starfish now. Okay, so I'm going to pull out these ones. This one goes in the middle, out of the way. All right. So what we're doing on this side is we want to do the same as we did on the front, but we want to crochet the back stitches, which are now the top ones, just based on it sitting like this. We want to crochet those all together. So I'm going to grab my main color of yarn, and I am going to attach it to the next unworked stitch. So you can see where this stitch here was worked, this one here is not. So that's what I mean by the next unworked stitch. That's where we will attach our yarn. Attach with a slip stitch here. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to single crochet in this stitch and then in the next 3 stitches. And we will follow that pattern all the way around. We're going to find the next unworked stitch over here and single crochet in that, and then in the next 3. So we'll have 20 stitches when we've completed this round. So I'm going to put my stitch marker in the first stitch here just to help keep track of what legs I've worked in. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches. It looks a little bit like a mess with all these tails everywhere, but it'll work out. Okay. It's our first arm. Then we got to find the next unworked stitch here. So see, this one is worked on the front. So we want this one here. Single crochet in this stitch, and then in the next 3 as well. And then on to the next one. I'm going to find the next unworked stitch, which is here. This one is worked, this one's not. And then single crochet in the next 3 as well. So you'll have 4 stitches per arm. And we'll end with having 20 stitches in this round. On to this one, the tail. Okay, and then our last arm. So there is all 20 stitches. And then to start our next round, we're going to do all those single crochet decreases. Before I do that, I noticed that some of my tails ended up inside, which is not a big deal. You could go around actually now. I can show you the little hole I mean. See how there's a little bit of a hole there? So you can sew those up with these ends. And we'll tuck this one in so it's out of the way. That was the center one from the front. Okay. Make sure this one is secure. Okay, so on to round 3 of the back here. Just kind of tucking ends out of the way. And we're going to go from having our 20 stitches down to 10. So we're going to do single crochet decreases all the way around, just like we did with the front. So remember that was our first stitch this time. We're going to put it back to where we normally have it. And then single crochet decrease all the way around. So you'll have 10 stitches. So there's the end of round 2 of the back of the body. And what we want to do here is we want to sew up these little holes if you haven't already. And you want to add a bit of stuffing to the body because we're going to go in round 3. It's our final round. We're going to go from having 10 stitches down to 5. So it'll be tricky to add the stuffing in after that point. So I'm going to speed up the video and sew up these, and then I'll be back for round 3. Okay, the tails are all inside now. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of stuffing. Probably don't need that much. I don't think I got much in this one. If you can see your color through, you can use your needle to poke those in. All right, so round 3 of the back. We are going to do 5 single crochet decreases. So we're going to go from having 10 stitches down to 5 stitches. So this is our last round, so make sure you have all the stuffing in there that you want. You might be able to add a little bit more. Oh. My yarn is stuck here. There we go. You should be able to still do a stitch even with that. And then end off by slip stitching to your next stitch. And then you want about a 6-inch or so tail. And then we're going to cinch up. And weave in your tail. There we go. Oh, I didn't sew up that one, so I will go ahead and sew up that one off camera. But there we go. We've got our little starfish. And if you want to add some extra eye embroidery and a little mouth, I will provide the link for that video below. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.